Hey guys, Mike with Gettin Greasy Garage, and well, here's the floor pan that came out of the donor Z car that is not rusted through, and yeah, it's gonna go in that car because, as you saw in one of the other videos, those floors are horrible. So, the way these cars are built, they have this frame rail. Well, this would be your firewall. It's upside down. Front frame rail comes off of here. And this is, anyway, you get the picture. Well, the frame rail in the car is fine. Just the sheet metal of the floor is gone. So, I have to remove these. I don't want to try to cut and splice these and have that car get all twisted out of shape. So I set to removing them off of this floor pan. And of course, you know, it's an import, or like, well, everything. They're spot welded together. And I do have a couple of the spot weld drill bits, you know, it's got a little centering bit, and then it looks like a miniature hole saw. My issue with those is then it leaves holes through your floor. And yes, I'm going to have to drill holes to spot weld it again. But I want to put the holes where I want them, not where I had to drill out old spot welds every inch. So, anyway, I was watching one of my more favorite channels lately, especially for metalwork. I have a few guys I watch that, you know, I really watch how they do things, and I've learned a lot from them. Bad Chad, Ian Roussel, Fitzy Fabrication. I learned a lot from Fitzy. And Jap Hands at Make It Custom. Those guys, and Half-Ass Customs, Brent. You know, those are the main guys I watch for metalworking techniques and stuff. If I'm getting into something I haven't done, or looking for a better, easier way to do it. So, anyway, go check those guys out if you haven't seen any of them. There's a lot of knowledge there, a lot of neat ideas, neat cars. Anyway, Make It Custom, he was working on something and had to drill out a bunch of spot welds. So he uses one of these guys. Come on, focus, 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 you bastard. There it goes. Rotary file, carbide deburr, carbide burr. I don't know, everybody calls these things different. There it is. I just call it a carbide rotary file. Sounds good. It's a good name. And I just used a 1/4 inch 90-degree die grinder. And what you do, if I'd sure love to show you this, but my die grinder died today. So you just basically, you die grind the weld till it's really thin, and then I use this Lyle tool. It's for cutting spot welds. You can pound on the end, and you can pound it sideways. It's made to beat on. It's really tough. I don't know if there's a part number on here or not. Just look on Lyle Tools website for spot weld cutter. And if you can't find it and you really want to know what this is, oh hell, I'll put a screenshot of it. This thing, I've never used a better tool for cutting spot welds. Lyle Tools, if you're not familiar with them, really neat company. So guys like myself that invent a tool, you can go take your tool idea to Lyle, and you work out everything with them, and they produce it, they sell it, and you get a piece of the pie. So, and I figure that it must be a decent outfit to work with, because Lyle's always coming out with new tools. But I like the fact that it's just guys like myself that have invented these tools, and they're an outlet to get these people's products out there. So another great Lyle tool. Uh, anyway, once you grind out your spot weld, and then take this tool, drive it in there, and then give her a little pink. It pops these spot welds loose, and you can see, from the die grinder, you leave a little bit of a divot. There's a good one. So, but to me, that's better than a bunch of holes. But so that's what I'm working on today. I'm gonna end up cutting this off across the base of the footwell. I'm not sure where yet, so I'm just getting rid of all the structure. Some stuff here. But yeah, so I got this one off, this one, and this floor pan, like any floor pan, made in 1970s, kind of beat up. Problem with these cars is there's no real good place to put a floor jack. You're supposed to put it on the seam. There's a body seam that runs right here on the rocker. Everybody sees this little sheet metal frame rail. They jack up on it, it collapses in the floor. So there'll be some metal work to go on here, mainly on these front corners and on the edges. But I've got to get everything straightened out so that when I put this thing in the other car, that everything lines up and is flat and all that. So, but I, didn't get as far as I wanted to today. Yeah, so you can see this side's really beat in. So, anyway, this side I approached it a little differently, live and learn. So I cut the top part out of the frame rail and just left the flange so I can get to both sides of it. I got started on it, and like I said, my die grinder died. Yeah, it's not an Ingersoll Rand or any top quality name. It's eBay Chinesium, but I've had this thing for like a year, and I work the hell out of it and oil it regularly. Of course, well, with that new air compressor I got, 185 psi might be the issue. So, yep, this was kind of one of my favorite die grinders. I've got a couple others, and they just sit in the toolbox. So, anyway, got another one of these. If somebody wants to sponsor the channel with a die grinder, be happy to say your name, say your channel name, whatever. If that's something somebody's interested in, hit me up. But I have another one on order from eBay. Years of doing mechanic work, I find personally that with die grinders, I just buy the cheapies, and when they wear out, you throw them away, you buy another one, because the longevity of this stuff, the name brand stuff, isn't any better than the Chinesium. I mean, this ain't complete garbage. I don't care if the Harbor Freight ones, that's a personal thing. This reminds me more of a, like Chicago Pneumatic or something, but, up until today, which, I mean, it's a lot of force going on there and a lot of work, and I've used it for wire wheeling and everything else. I work them hard. So, a moment of silence for another worn out tool. Okay, enough of that. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's where I'm at. Just kind of an update here. Got a couple of my different 4.5-inch grinders out, different types of wire wheels. I got the nicer one there. I got the real mean, vicious, knotted or twisted big wire one. We got one with a death wheel on it. If anybody's used any of those new metal cutting blades on these 4.5-inch die grinders, I'm interested to hear about them. My concern is, do they last very long for the price that you pay for them? because death wheel blades are cheap, and yeah, they're dangerous, but you know, this is metal work. It's not crochet. So, if anybody has an experience with the new metal cutting blades, please mention it in the comments. Tell me what you think of them, and even which brand, because there's a few different ones, and I'm not sure which way to go. So, yeah. So anyway, we'll get the frame rails cut off here, and get it flipped over, and then it's just a lot of hammer and dolly time. And I'm gonna go ahead and not so much in the tunnel here, but up here I'm going to wire wheel all this off, and that way when it's all done I'll respray it again. Whoever put the car together, they did a really nice job fiberglassing these holes up, but I'm going to cut all that out and just weld metal in. That's more of a personal preference. You know, minor details, but not a big deal to whip up a quick metal panel. So I've got all the metal tools. Why not do it? Then the next thing will be done is when I took it apart. I don't know if you can see it here, but this, I had to fold this lip. These were all the spot welds were. I used that spot weld cutter. And so I had to bend that back to 90 degrees and clean it up. But that all came off pretty good. This little hammer and dolly work. Grind these welds off. These part of the welds don't really look factory to me. I don't know. They look like somebody got in there, but either way. And then I be get the other car prepped for this floor pan now. I don't know that yet if I'm going to cut just these, you know, the floor pan in half here along this edge and weld it in. My concern is I don't want to mess with the integrity of the transmission mount. And then in the back, there's some other mounts and structure and stuff that I don't really want to monkey with. The other part is I have to find out how far up this footboard I need in the car, and I won't know that until I get in there and do some grinding. So, yep. Anyway, coming along. Finally got over our heat wave, so I'm able to get back at it here. And in the next day or two, I will have a Fairlane video for you guys. Yes, getting back on that. Like I said, I had family vehicles to fix, other customer stuff to attend to, and I have to step away from that once in a while. It's a big project, and just kind of let my brain recuperate and get the creative juices flowing again. You know, that's just when you work on the same thing every day for every day. And I'm figuring things out and building and modifying as I'm going, and sometimes I get a little bit of a kind of a mental block thing going on there, and so, you know, family rigs all broke down at the same time. I had some other customer obligations to take care of, and so that gave me a break. I got to go camping for 2 days, which was absolutely wonderful. I needed a little vacation as such, and yeah, you know, get to come back and do this stuff again. I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do it. I guess it's all a matter of perspective, guys. You know, you don't have to do anything, but if you look at it from the right way and you enjoy what you're doing, you get to do this, and that's how I am. That's how I feel about it. So, anyway, enough babbling out of me. It's late, or not late, but getting later, and I am tired. I am going to go and make myself some dinner, and yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Please like, share, comment. If you're not subscribed, please do. All that liking and sharing and commenting and subscribing and all that. That stuff's free, and it really helps out channels like mine that, you know, small guys like myself that We work our butts off to make these videos and do the work that we do. And when you subscribe and you share the videos and do those things, it helps out immensely. So I appreciate it. I thank you all. And I'm going in the house. Stay greasy, my friends.